Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Paranormal Quartett live from Mexico. I'm Markus Fernolze, your host, and that's our team. As a special guest, we have today Kai Mügge. His talents are physical mediumship, full body trance, apportation, and table levitation. Hi. Your microphone is switched off, Kai.
I'm sorry. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for having us. Good evening.
And our next in our list is Julie Adriani. Her talents are psychic readings, psychic tools, mediumship, trance healing, and tarot. Welcome.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Hey, Julie.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see
And
you
the
too.
next one is Sam Balut. Talents, energy healing. But here he is. Hi, Sam.
Very
Nice to
good.
see you.
Hey, Hassan.
And the next one in our team is Michael Chain. His talents are physical mediumship, apportation, independent direct voice communication, materialization, and symbols. Michael, nice to have you here.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
This is our team for today, and I have here our topics for today. Dear audience, please feel free to ask all our team about those topics. But before we can start, I have to introduce the co-moderator, Jochen. Jochen, you are in charge of the chat.
Hello, everyone. Yes, good evening, guten Abend from Germany. My name is Jochen Dürselen, and I will act as co-moderator this time. I will keep an eye on the chat to collect, prioritize, and present the questions from our audience in the chat here to our guests.
And before we start, I'm sure we will have very soon a lot of questions for you. I will take the chance to ask as well some questions. Sam, I have a question for you. What is
Yes,
the I am presence? What does it mean? Can you explain us what is the meaning?
yes. The I am presence is the presence of the God within us. It's the infinite flame of light that exists within every soul. I am the I am. Saint Germain talked about this extensively, and there was many movement that was formed after that. So this is in a nutshell the I am.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Michael, as well, could you explain me something about the difference between direct voice and indirect voice mediumship? What is it?
Um, direct voice is where the spirit will create a pseudopod inside a seance trumpet. A pseudopod is a copy of a voice box made out of ectoplasm, allowing the spirit to communicate. The independent voice is where the spirit materializes and utilizes their own voice box.
Mhm. And in your case, what happens with yourself when you speak to spirit people? Do you feel it, or you have first in your mind what they will say, or it is like a communication between you and me? You never know what is the next step, what I'm going to ask in the next minute.
Correct. Usually I go into a place where I call my happy place, and I have no idea what's going on in the seance room where they will communicate with their own consciousness, separating my consciousness from my body, and that's called trance. So I go
Okay.
completely out so they can take over and do what they're going to do. And I trust my spirit team. I've known them since I was born, and it's been a beautiful experience.
When you connect to the spirit world, is it not kind of dangerous that you get maybe contact with something what is dark or negative? Or are you protected from the other side?
Both. I have a spirit team, Lady Nada. She's an ascended master of Shambhala. She's my cabinet guide that makes sure that I'm protected. But most importantly, we have to take responsibility ourselves. So we do things like prayers of protection and affirmation to put the right vibration in the room so negative entities cannot penetrate.
Okay. I have as well for Julie a question. Julie, could you tell me please something about the difference between, oh, wait a minute, difference between psychic work and mediumship work?
Sure. So, psychic work is when I am reading a live person, maybe someone sitting in front of me. I'm tuning into their energy and their aura, and I can get a lot of information from that. And mediumship is when I am tuning into the energy of a discarnate spirit. So, someone from this world. I raise my vibration and I'm able to connect and sense, and through my clear senses, communicate.
Kai, how did it start in your case that you figured out, hey, wait a minute, I'm somehow different than normal people on the street. I can see something, I can hear something, what is not normal for everyone. How did it start in your case?
I'm not so sure if that is actually be describable as a difference in regards to me and other people. It was simply the paths of my fate simply led me to specific topics and maybe some special conditions within me. I had very, very early contact with spirit people from my 4th year of age. I was a natural out of body experiencer. And the following years coming then led me to different truly initiation-like experiences that made me so becoming interested in the topic. I started actually to become a true scholar, and I read what I could get. And then when I was 15, I was actually holding a first ceremonial environment session, a seance, as it is called, to try out what I have actually read about, how these contacts can be led into a practical environment thing. And that's actually more technical, more a mechanic, more a training. I believe that we are actually dealing here with something that is as old as mankind, and we all have it in our DNA. The question is, will you encounter it when in your life, or will your life be led only in regards or more to referring to earthly things? So my
You
luck
connect.
was that I was so early and encountering these topics, and they gripped me totally. So it was written in my book of fate, if you wish so.
Do we all connect for multi-dimensional beings?
Oh,
Or
I believe
basically,
so.
can we do it, or do we do it without to know it?
Yeah, we do it without to know. I believe we human beings are looked at from a wider perspective. We are multi-connected in many different realms. Past and future are only 2 of these realms. Many we may not have even terms for. But basically, we believe that the human existence is only a specific endpoint of something that is much, much larger.
I saw Julie. She was absolutely your opinion, but I had the feeling she would like to say something to the same topic. Please. Julie.
Well, I believe that we are all multidimensional beings, that we have choice when we pass on or when we continue to reincarnate, that there's not only this universe, there's multi-universes, and I believe that we might have all been or will be whatever we choose, whatever experience we choose to have. And I feel like we've all had multi-dimensional existences.
From a higher point of view, all happens to the same time, past, present, and future. So it means basically I'm born to the same time, I'm adult to the same time, and I passed away to the same time. This is correct. But we, because our soul want to make experiences in matter, has to, in real, to live every single moment. That's the reason why we experience time, but our higher self doesn't experience time. Is this correct from the point of view of a medium, or did I explain there's something wrong? Michael, would you like to say something to my statement? Is it correct or incorrect?
Well, it's like the death experience. From what I understand in the teachings and the things I've experienced, every time you ascend into a different experience, your consciousness raises to a higher level. We exist multifaceted and multidimensional beings with our soul, and past, present, and future is in the same moment in time. And there's others, as Kai was mentioning, that we don't really have a way to describe or to put even a name or a title upon it. It exists. And sometimes, depending on the sensitivity of the individual, you can feel it or even hear communication from there. But it's not really like an English language or a German language. It's just a knowing of energy.
Is there an international language? Many people who are using to capture EVPs a recorder, they can say, well, I can go to China. All what I hear is German, for example, now. Is there maybe something in our brain, in our mind, what makes the translation from something what we could call an international language? Expressed maybe through feelings, and something inside us is translating it in a language. What do you think about it?
It's usually in like a math or music. That's a universal language. But like you were talking about German, apparently the vibration of that language seems to be at a higher level than let's say the English language. And so it's easier to communicate that way, which helps Kai out a lot, but doesn't do me any good.
So languages, when we speak about language frequencies, lower frequency or higher frequency, which language would be the most positive language? If we go back maybe in time, could it be that it is an ancient language?
Some talk about the Sumerian language. Some have, for instance, Master Kutumi talks about the Mayans. They had a language that was very highly advanced. But honestly, here on Earth, from what I'm taught, we're the only one that actually uses words and language and categories to communicate to one another. They do it other ways. That's not really describable. It's almost a knowing of energy. It's like the masters in Shambhala. They don't talk to each other. They send energy to one another, and they know what that energy means.
So in this energy is all included. Thoughts, colors, maybe, emotions. It is very complete. And not only a word, and we have the meaning of the word in our mind, and we interpret this language. So it is a complete different kind of language.
Correct. It's all inclusive because we are, on Earth, but there's a part of us that's everywhere else. So we're being
Mhm.
educated
Our
on
higher
many
self.
levels, you see. So
Um,
it's kind of like a deja vu experience when you're receiving information on a different way. It's like, oh wow, I've been there before, but you
mhm,
can't really define what that might be.
mhm. So when we have a higher self, or that we exist multidimensional, um, if we are connected, can we say that we have access to higher knowledge, what we achieved maybe in a different dimension, or what we learned in a different dimension? I
Absolutely.
think, could it be that I connect, for example, on a world what is very similar, like our world, like a mirror world, and there is a person who is maybe looking at me but has an advanced knowledge and a different name?
Correct.
Maybe Kai can tell us something to this idea, because I heard something about Hans. Could you tell us a little bit who or what is Hans?
Mhm. Hans is a classical interdimensional communicator. He relates to an earthly personality that has once lived here and died in the 80s. But actually, we do not, or we more do relate to the quality of such a communicator, not in regards to his or her name, but more in regards to what he brings into the sessions. So names are more or less in these interdimensionality. Sometimes it seems as if higher knowledge is like cloaking humanly, only to appear easier to us, and that it is that we can span communication in a uh, more common terms. So Hans is a classical interdimensional communicator. He is a trance guide. That means he's a deep trance guide. That means he overtakes, he has the allowance from me to overtake my body. Meanwhile, I'm separating from it. Exactly the same thing that Michael just has described. We deep trance mediums, we do separate from our own bioforms and overhand these bioforms to guest spirits who we know quite well. And Hans is then actually sinking into my body that I have made free just beforehand, and he uses my body then. He's in control then, and he leads actually the spirit sessions, the seances. We are holding under his guidelines and with his helpers. He comes in also with the spirit team, and so Hans is a classical interdimensional trance guide.
I had, when I was younger, 6, 7, 8 years, the experience that someone or something was trying to push me out of my body, and I was half outside of my body, and was thinking, "Hey, what's going on with me? I feel I'm here, but still outside of my body as well." What was it? Possession, or was trying to overtake a positive being my body? How would you interpret this?
With such a singular event, that's always difficult. But basically, mediumship is possession. There is another spirit that overtakes you, respectively, that overtakes at least your body. Under some viewpoints, you could easily describe it as a possession. Possession does not necessarily have a negative undertone. as we know it in connection with exorcism or something like that. These cases are very, very rare that human beings are possessed by basically negative beings like demons or something like this. Historically, it is a fact, and these cases are very, very interesting because of the high amount of powerful paranormal phenomena which are going on in the environment of these possession cases. And on a lower term, these paranormal phenomena are going on in the positive possession cases as well. This is what we are actually talking about in referring to the phenomena Michael has or we have in our seances. The moment the spirit personalities get have got access to our three-dimensionality through our body, they somehow control the three-dimensional environment, and then things can appear or things can happen that usually do not happen. Physical phenomena.
Is there a difference? Let me cut in here for a second. Is there a difference between trance healing and energy healing? Who could answer the best person to give an answer would be maybe Julie and Sam.
Well, for me, my trance guide comes in, but it's not like a complete taking over. I feel him stepping very close behind me, and I feel the energy and the presence through my arms and through my palms. And we do have chakras in our palms, and almost feels like an expansion, like balls of energy. So I feel it through my arms and my hands. Yes. And I know that from experiences from my clients that it was almost found accidental because I didn't know that I was trance healers until I started doing my trance work. And it's very powerful. Energy healing is wonderful too because we have so many pathways and meridians in our bodies. And I will let Sam speak of that because we have the innate ability in our souls to heal ourselves.
That's true. What I've simply learned that yes.
Please go on. I was interrupting you. You are lagging a little bit, but it's okay.
It's okay. Yes, we were talking about healing. As of healing, usually the person works as a facilitator and create an opening in the other person's emotions in order to figure out what's going on. And the person must be also, it helps immensely if the person is ready to receive that healing. So the healer could really be helped immensely by this. One of the best ways, as Master Zoser said before, that healing also is wonderful when it's done when somebody's asleep. Because their conscious mind is out of the way, which sometimes that distinguishes from the beast, but it does affect, the healing process. So in ancient Egypt, they used to see many figures over people's bed, and that's how the priesthood at that time used to do some of their healing at night, because it would be more effective. Yeah. So as for healing, I believe healing, like my sister Julie mentioned, very, and there's so many levels of healing, but I believe the first step for healing is don't look for a Band-Aid. Like my brother Michael Shane always tells me, you got to go to the root cause of the problem and deal with it. And that's one of my Master Kutumi's technique, is that he kind of dig a little bit at the wound, and then he creates a little bit of stimulation, but it has to be done very carefully, and you got to really know what you're doing. So it's also when you're doing healing upon somebody else, you got to really learn about colors and the different rays that they exist that can assist immensely in creating the healing in that particular person that is in need of healing. And also, one has to study the word intent when you're doing healing upon somebody else, because it's all about intent. And one must realize that one has the power of God within him. One has the power of the 100 billion sun that you can direct upon that person and heal him. So one must really channel these energies correctly and create an opening and a healing. And in actuality, when we're doing this, we're healing ourselves, where we're healing everybody because we're one part of a large organism.
When I try to channel, I can see in with my inner eyes that I feel energy, and I can describe the energy as yellow energy and as well dark and gray energy. I have every time the feeling when I connect to the yellow positive energy, I'm with higher beings connected. As well, sometimes if I ask something, I get a response, sometimes not. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Do I really connect with someone or something, or do I pull only energy to me because I feel after it in peace, in love, and I have a wonderful day? Can you
Well,
tell me what is this, what I see, feel, or connect with?
are you asking me this?
Whoever wants to answer the question, it's an open question.
Well, let me just begin by saying, before you begin your visualizations or your meditation, you must remember, and the masters really urge us to surround ourselves with light and never to forget to make this mistake. So we only good may come. So as far as the yellow energy that you're seeing, it's probably connected to Master Kutumi Les Singh, the creator of the yellow flame, that does work for to purify and clarify the mental body, and it has also many uses. So as to the dark energy that you're seeing, I will let somebody else comment on that.
Okay, so I should take them out of my vision, that I block them. If not, I get maybe something negative, right? Ah, Kai, he has his finger up like in school. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, I would like to propose, because Hassan has mentioned it now so many times, and Michael as well. So they are talking about techniques working with the Ascended Masters. The Ascended Masters is a group of powerful spiritual entities, and they are coming from a spiritual framework that was actually excavated and revealed by the Theosophical Society. And these are powerful entities. They are connected with colors and with different forms of frequencies, and both they are very intimate scholars of that spiritual philosophy. In Germany, this is by far not as widespread, well known as it is maybe in America. So I found it very important that we shortly explain what you refer to, Hassan or Michael, when you are talking about the masters, you know.
Do we basically speak about angels?
Yes, I have some angels that come around and even speak through the seance trumpet. Um, Archangel Michael has come through, Metatron, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Castiel, different entities, but most of the angels just give objects. Like, for instance, you see this, it's a black
Yes, this is a
onyx
stone.
with some white stuff in it, crystals or whatever. That was given to me by Uriel
Mhm.
in
Does it come from Earth? Does it come from Earth, or maybe from another dimension, or how we have to imagine the appearance?
Well, I haven't actually taken this one in. I've had objects. I have a few of my objects sitting here to show when we get to apportation. Um, but I've had objects where people have taken it to a jeweler to make it into jewelry, and the jeweler and the gemologist cannot find the property on any periodic chart, and which to me means, and what I'm being told by spirit is it's not from this realm.
So it is not from Earth, but it can be from another dimension.
Correct. But this piece here, I don't know.
This
I'm pretty sure it came from Earth. It looks like onyx with some sort of white stone in it, but I don't really know what it is. It could be anything for that matter. It looks like it came from a meteor, but I don't know what it is. Um, and then with the purpose of bringing through objects, like for instance this one here,
Mhm.
that is
Wonderful, wonderful.
that's a ruby that was given to me by Jesus when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
So
And when we speak about seance or we speak about apportation, let us go a little bit further to table levitation. Why something like that happens? To show that spirit people are in place and doing it? Or is it only a demonstration of what is possible? If it is only a demonstration of what is possible, where are the limits? Who can answer the question?
Yeah, I would like
Who
to
would
answer
like?
that question. So, actually, table levitation is a very easy access form to actually enter the world of physical interaction with spirit entities. On first sight, it may seem as if this is simply a physical act, even though it is actually a paranormal physical act, because nobody is lifting the table is going up by itself. And in the end, this table levitation is one of many different phenomena which may occur in the seance room. And why the seance room actually is so active, the Western seance room, when we look into the ceremonies and ritual environments all around the world and in different centuries, why necessarily the Western seance room has these specific strong physical phenomena. Um, this is the case because we in the Western world are so very much related to the material world. And the spirits, this is a philosophy actually, the spirits lead the material world ad absurdum in the seance room. And this is what basically is behind physical phenomena, besides a lot of many other messages the spirits have to us human beings as existing entities in the dualistic dimensionality. So physical phenomena are always coming with a meaning in our seances as they do in Michael's seances or in Warren Kaler's seances
When
or
I
others.
imagine the situation, a table is lifting up. I have every time the idea there are spirit people around the table, they are lifting it up. Is this completely wrong? Or is there only such an energy in the room that things like that happens? And if it is only pure energy and not spirit people who are working on the table to lift it up and turn it and turn it and turn it like impossible for human beings, is it the same energy who is used for healing, energy healing?
Yeah, well,
Maybe I give this answer to Sam because it's connected to energy healing. And then I come back to Kai. Sam,
Well,
could you?
time you're in a seance like situation or a master circle communication circle, there's always a pool of energy that is being formed in the middle, that is being formed by the spirits, by the angels, or by what we call the ascended masters, which we should do another show about. And this energy usually is conducive to the medium and to the sitters. In the seance room where my brother Kai and Michael Shane operates, I've heard of many healing miracles that has taken place that was influenced by the person himself who was seeking healing, by the energy, by the masters. So there's many different factors that usually produces the healing. Just going back to the language that we were talking about earlier, there was a language that existed in about 20,000 years ago that did not contain any negative word in it. So you can only imagine how can you raise beautiful kids in this kind of environment.
Affirmation, sentences with affirmation, where we don't use negative words. Is it somehow connected to witchcraft? I mean, that's our spells. When I say or wish someone a bad day, is it a negative spell, basically? And when I wish someone a good day, is it somehow a spell?
Well, when you wish someone a good day, that means you are in tune with the principles of truth, beauty, goodness, and justice. The light within you is shining, and the light within you is shining because you educated yourself. You spend hours of intense hours educating yourself and studying about who you are, where you came from. You got to a point where you're constantly wishing everybody a good day in your life, you know? So it's all about education and learning and studying,
Mhm.
yeah. And
Does every
you need to have the proper teacher sometimes to do that for you, yeah. But however, when the student is ready, the master or the truth will appear.
does every single word have a specific vibration? A
Definitely,
vibration what can be a positive reaction,
yes.
like a sound?
Yes, the highest vibrational frequency of God, love, I am, are the highest in any given language. And tuning in to this majestic principles and words lifts the spirit and ennobles the character and ascends the total self into mastership if it's done correctly. There was a master by the name Master Latif that lived in Egypt that was able to ascend in one lifetime and conquer life and death and escape the wheel of rebirth. And he did that, and the master is still looking into the ways he used to be able to do this. And I've spent about 12 years looking into that as well. So hopefully we can share that on another show.
Oh, we will, I'm sure about it. Let me come to a different topic, tarot and oracle. If we connect with spirits, is it necessary to read the cards? Or do we connect with two different things? Do we connect maybe with the cards to our higher being, or do we connect to different beings? Julie, could you answer this question?
Yes, so psychic oracle cards and tarot cards, you are working with psychic energy. They are psychic tools. So they can help you. They can help you with your own life. They can help read other people's energies, but they are psychic tools, and you're working with universal energy. Okay, and the person's actual energy. Say if I'm reading someone with a psychic tool, say the tarot, then I am reading into that person's energy, if that's my focus. So those are not mediumship tools. When you're working in your psychic energy, you are building all your clear senses. You use with your mediumship as well. So it's almost like psychic sit-ups. You start out reading psychically, that's a different vibration, and you raise up into your mediumship. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. What is the preparation if someone is interested to learn reading the cards, the preparation, what you need for it? Is there a specific preparation, what is necessary before you lay the cards and interpret someone's cards? Do you have to connect with spirit guides or something like that, that you are protected, that you read the cards correctly?
Personally, I always say a prayer or set an intention before I begin readings. Some people have a lot of ceremony they go with. I just tune in to my energy and I set an intention. And also, if you're working with a client, you want to know there are all different types of spreads, all different ways, all different questions. But you can definitely find out what you can change, what you cannot change, and things that you may not even be aware of. So basically, those are psychic tools, though, that we're working with when we're working with cards. And there is a
Dear
difference.
audience,
Oh, I'm
go
sorry.
on, please.
Dear
No,
Marco?
I was interrupting you.
I'll say. So I just wanted to say that there is a huge difference between the tarot deck and an oracle deck. A tarot deck has a certain structure. It's always going to have the major arcana, which are 22 cards, and it's always going to have the minor arcana, which are the 4 suits. So, and with oracle cards, there really aren't any rules, only those that the author wants to put in and the intentions. Okay.
Okay, thank you to answer the question. Jochen,
Dear
you were
Marco,
trying to reach out to me.
Yes. I don't received any questions so far, and because of that, I want to use the moment to encourage on our audience to ask their questions. Yes, don't be shy. If there are any questions you want to ask, please do so.
Yes, let me encourage our audience as well. We have so important people and wonderful people here. You can ask all questions. They are eager to answer your questions. And so go ahead, ask questions to Sam Balud or Julie Ariani, Kai Mügge, or Michael Chain. If you don't have questions, I have still some questions. I'm very interested in it. Let me go back until the first question. Serena Schröder, she has a question. And now, yes, now are coming the questions. Jochen, tell me.
Yes. Okay, the first question is from Serena Schröder, and her question is, what circumstances must be present for spontaneous healings to take place for a disease to be dematerialized?
Yeah, let me throw these questions in the group. Who feels the best about this question to answer or to give an answer to this question? Who would like to?
I will do it simply and answer it love and light with intention.
Okay.
And I will add that it depends on if an illness is karmic or not. We can help facilitate and activate the healing, but sometimes things are karmic. Then we can only give comfort.
When it is karmic, what are you referring to? That it is the reason is maybe that we have to deal with some problems from an earlier life, or what we did now in this world in our life? Can it be both?
Some things are karmic because this is the way that we have agreed to pass. I believe that our days are not set in stone. We have free will, but certain things are going to happen and you can't change them. So some things that are ancestral or passed down, those things can be healed. And sometimes there's even proof of the healing with birthmarks. Some birthmarks are passed through from a previous lifetime, previous situation.
Okay.
Sometimes in this lifetime, you actually see them heal and go away.
Well, also, if I may comment, the healing usually is kind of twofold. Usually, it's either connected to this lifetime or connected to another lifetime. So, a past life regression sometimes could create resolutions and healing. Also, a healer that knows what they're doing, such as crystal light healing therapy. That's a modality that I've seen my brother Michael Shane do some work on. But also the intent is the key. Whoever is the healer working, the intent is the key to create healing in that person as well.
Yes, and this truth in regards to the intent and the importance of the intent may explain why seance room energies are basically perceived as healing. They always have a healing potential, even if you do not even mention the name healing or something. And usually there is the concept: the deeper the trance, the more powerful a phenomenon can occur. But here it seems to be independent. So we had spontaneous healings in seances where healing was not even mentioned up to that point, and um, a huge scar was actually taken. It had the size of a child's fist. Was taken from a lady in Sweden, and she was enabled afterwards to do things she could not have done anymore for years. So, and because of the fact that the seance actually is held in such a high intent, I actually also believe that things like that are possible.
Serena Schröder, I hope your question is answers good enough. Let me go back to Jochen. Jochen, the next one, please.
Yes, there's another question from Winterbrook, and she teaches trance mediumship, and her question is relating to mixing different masters by being employed in teaching trance mediumship. And she is asking if it's possible to mix or to use different teachers to become employed. Or is it not recommended to mix or to blend your teachers?
I have the impression Michael would like to say something to this topic, right?
Yeah. Really, you can work with as many of them as that are willing to work with you in your mediumship. There's no rules saying you only can work with one. Kai works with multiple beings as well, and it's always very spectacular because even in some cases, these entities will come through more than one at a time. Whether it be like, for instance, Sam will probably remember we had 7 ascended beings fully materialized in a seance room once in Fife, Washington. And the energy was so strong, some of the people couldn't deal with it. But so you can do more than one. And I want to add also, ascended masters, Hans, their importance are equal. There is no better or worse. The information that comes through is priceless, and the vibration is of such a high level to even be willing to come through us to educate us, for those of us that are listening and are willing to sit and listen. So I wanted to make sure that the people knew that because I work with the ascended masters, that makes it better. It doesn't. It's the intention and the information and the knowledge that's given. I've heard wonderful stuff come through Hans, and that other spirit, I can't think of his name right now, that he brings through.
Winterbrook is not agreeing here. Let me go over her question. I read it aloud so that you can maybe better understand what she was pointing to. She wrote, I teach trance mediumship, working with higher self, ascended masters and decreased loved ones on Long Island. Other than my telling them to forget that nonsense, of course you can blend with them. Any suggestions to respond? Wait, now it was moving. To respond to the nonsense being taught by certain teachers? Sorry, it was a long question. Students are coming to me after being told that they should not blend with anyone other as ascended master. Uh, Decrease loved ones, please read comment 1, 2, and then 2. No, 1, 3, and then 2. And then she wrote, not quite. And no, I didn't say that. Please read third comment before second comment. I hope it is now a little bit more clear, but I got lost in her messages a little bit. Who would like to take this as a reason to get into it?
Kai, you
No,
take
no, no.
no.
No?
Um,
No,
It-
excuse me. I have not understood the question. Excuse me, but I was not.
No, me neither. It seems there's something mixed. Maybe she can clarify it in her next statement. Do we have more, Jochen, what people would like to
But
know?
one thing I am sure that she is referring to deceased loved ones and not
Oh, yes.
decreased loved ones.
Deceased, yes, yes, yes. This was my mistake. Yes.
No, Michael, there are no questions more left.
I think,
Okay. Julie.
sorry, I think she's referring to that there are some teachers out there saying you cannot mix your guides you're working with or your masters, but we are all a collective. And like Michael said, it doesn't matter if they're ascended masters or just an ancestral guide. If they are there with the intention to help you with your healing work, it doesn't matter. And they all work together, just like we all should work together. And it is a collective. So there's never only one there. There's never only one guide there. There's always a team of spirits. So
Yes. If I may comment on that as well, we do have a guardian angel, or what we call a master teacher, male, female, gender doesn't matter. Took interest in us and decided to share his or her karma with us. Usually these beings are super advanced and they come back for service because it's all about service at the end of the day, yeah? And then you have an archangel as a guide as well. And sometimes, whether you want it or not, it's your archangel. You're connected to that. You have a regular angel. You have what we call watchers. There's one or two around you that protect you all the time. So if you're meant to die in a car accident and it's not your time, they will interfere and stop that, so you don't have to go through reincarnation and come back to do your job again. And so you have elementals, you have spirit guides that helps you. So you have a host of energies and entities and angels around you to guide you for the next step of evolution. And that's about it for that.
I believe one thing we have learned from the mechanics of the spirit team, we are working with the bigger the variety of the alleged personalities. I mean, this is a presentation when they encounter us as angelic beings or as extraterrestrials. This is a specific form of presentation for our consciousness as human beings. But basically, I believe we can say the bigger the variety is, the bigger the complexity in entanglement in regards to topics that are discussed, or capabilities in regards to healing and so forth. The bigger the variety of entities is we are working with, the more complex their approach actually is.
Julie, what is your opinion about it? I saw you were listening carefully what said Kai. Are you agree with it, or would you like to add something?
no, I agree. I know there's a lot of people who think the more guides they have, it's because that they need more help. But actually, no. Why? Because there's such a variety of guides that I work with. But in the beginning, I want to say it doesn't matter if you know their names. It doesn't matter if you actually know who is there, as long as you recognize that you have spiritual helpers. You have a guardian angel from birth. You have your guides that are with your soul. You have your cabinet guides. And just knowing that, and the variety, they're all giving something. They're all giving you information and help. And some of them come and go as you need them in your life. If you're taking up a new musical instrument, you'll get musicians coming to help you and surround you. If you're just starting to take up healing, new healing guides, doctors, nurses, caregivers from past days will come with their love and healing. So it's always a collective, always.
A last question from my side. When we get information from the spirits, and the spirit tells us something what is positive, but in our real world life it is looking very negative, what should we believe? Should we believe the spirit if we know he is a positive being, or should we do what we consider to be the right way?
Well, you would believe what fits your truth and accept it with love. And then if it doesn't fit your truth, you send it back in love.
Okay, thank you very much. Kai, I was
Yeah,
interrupted.
I only wanted to say with trained guides you work with for a long time, such contradictions are usually not coming up. That is something is described as negative, what you basically would describe as positive. But basically, I believe we should handle it that way, that we are in the end the last judge for evaluating something, not the spirit, because yeah, you never know, this is coming from a trance environment and so forth. So in the end, if there is a contradiction or something, the inner compass, of which is of course also inspired, so to speak, but you should have the last command. You should be the last judge,
Okay.
not a spirit.
We are almost over with the time, but there's
Yes,
last
dear Marcus
question.
and dear guests, there are 2 questions left.
Okay, go ahead.
So, okay, I will present the first question. The first question is from Andrew calling, and he is asking, what are your thoughts regarding the soul experiencing life in multiple places at the same time? Do you feel that experiencing life in a non-linear time frame means that an individual soul can be living many lives at the same time through different personalities? That's his question.
Long question and a good question. Who would like to answer this question?
Yes, we believe as well that the soul is a multidimensional being, and that we are actually living exactly in that moment in time, probably uncountable lives. Yes, in multidimensional frames of existence. So this is what we are being taught as well.
Yes, we are infinite beings, therefore we could exist in infinite places at the same time. However, there's some entities that they could exist in 7 different places at the same time, consciously, and there's entities that they can exist in 600 different dimensions and planes of life and manifestation. So it's a really vast subject to discuss. However, yeah.
I hope your question is answered. We are running really out of time. I would say, Jochen, go to the next question. Please give a short and precise answer if possible. If possible, I know it is a difficult topic, but let us give it a try. The next time, I hope our audience comes back and is asking questions since the earliest beginning when if we go online. Next question, Jochen, please.
Yes, dear Marcus, there's one very short and very interesting question, though. And the question is from Klaus Was. I hope I pronounced it right. And he is asking, do evil humans, like dictators
Evil.
or serial killers, also have a kind of spiritual guides and angels in the spirit?
All people that are,
You were cutting out. Let me repeat once again the question. Do evil humans also have guides and angels? Was the basic question. Evil, I point to serial killers, dictators, and such people.
yes, it just sometimes it just matters if you're listening to them or not listening to them, but ultimately the choice or the decision is made by the individual on what they're doing. But everybody that is born has these connections. It's just a matter of what we do with them.
You got to look at this also in an esoteric sense. The divine energy doesn't really distinguish between good or bad. Just like the moon lights the way upon the lovers and the person who's going to do a robbery, so is divine energy. It's given equally to everyone. And if you remember the story of Jesus when he was hanging out with the prostitute and the thieves, he said, "Those are the one who needs me. You know, you're doing good, go on your way. But let me stay here and guide these people to their own light."
Yes. Yeah.
Julie,
So
your
I
last word, please.
Okay, so I believe that we are all souls. We all have the same spark of God within us. And that person, maybe that serial killer, decided to have that experience in this lifetime. That same soul energy might have had a different lifetime as a healer or a helper. And so to have a full rounded experience, they might have just chosen to have those experiences in this lifetime. They're like we are actors in this lifetime. We are helping maybe someone else have their experiences. So there's always choice. So we will still all go home to the same place where we are all the same.
Basically, we are observers in this life and to learn from things what we see around us, if they are evil in our interpretation or not. It is every time something to learn, and we shouldn't judge other people for this what they are doing because they chose to do it to basically learn to get their soul on a higher level. This was a nice word from Julie to the end of our show. I hope we could answer a lot of questions. If you were asking the question or not, I say thank you to the audience to being with us 1 hour. I say thank you to Kai Mügge that he was our guest. And thank you, our team, that you took time to answer my questions and some of the questions we had in chat. And dear audience, thank you to taking the time to participate here in our show. And I say until the next time, bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste,
Namaste.
everybody.